Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So humble obeisances to Maharaj and welcome all the devotees. Today we are going to hear the glorification of His Grace Jananivas Prabhuji. So I'll first share the lecture and then we'll hear the glorification of Prabhuji.
Well, we were waiting for Srila Prabhupada. We were having kirtan. And then suddenly Prabhupada just appeared there. It's like he was like it's a genie out of the lamp, I guess. No, it wasn't only me, because I was with Nanda, and he was chanting and playing mridanga, Nanda Maharaja. And he also was, he said, Prabhupada, he just suddenly, Prabhupada, he just seemed to stop. And Prabhupada was just standing there. And then he was just looking at his all the devotees there, one after
Actually,
another.
the lecture is of Jananivas. The glorification is of Jananivas.
The new Bhakta.
Yeah, this lecture was.
And then, like he just looked straight through, and as if to say,
It was written, whose name was written.
I'm coming for you. Not what you think you are. All these identities you have. I'm seeing you as Krishna's devotee. I'm coming to get you. And I was thinking that, I'm standing here in Calcutta airport. I'm completely naked. The whole world is watching me. I've got nothing to hide from this man.
What did you do this?
He's seeing me. So then everybody had a garland to give. They went forward and offered their garlands. So I went forward to offer my garland also. And I had a little brass bowl with rose petals. They said, when Prabhupada comes, you should throw these petals before him. Anyway, I went and I offered the garland to Prabhupada. And the little bowl I still had in my hand, it just touched Prabhupada here, and it made a little ringing sound. It was just ding, like as it. But I was so close to Prabhupada at that time, in his eyes. I was looking at his eyes, but it didn't even blink. When something comes close to your eyes, so what to speak of touching your eye? But Prabhupada, it didn't blink. It didn't even waver. And I thought, wow, this person is completely peaceful. Completely tranquil. My ideas of spiritual life was, that complete peace, harmony. You walk into the water, no ripples coming out and things like that. And this was that Prabhupada. What I'm looking for, what I'm aspiring for, what I think is spiritual. Prabhupada's got it. He's got it. He's got what I was searching for. And a lot of other devotees had that same experience when I spoke to them. What they were looking for, they saw it in Prabhupada. I don't think it was Prabhupada manifesting it, but I think Krishna was manifesting it. Here, what you're looking for, you found in my devotee. And then I paid my obeisances, and when I got up, no one was there. I don't know how long I've been paying my obeisances. Anyway, by the time we got back to Calcutta, Prabhupada was already in the temple. He was giving his lecture, arrival address lecture. So I thought, now I'm going to hear Prabhupada. I've been reading these books, and now I'm going to actually see him. So I sat down, and he already started his lecture. So the first thing I kind of heard him say was, so do not try to see God. And I thought that's what we're supposed to be doing. We're all out there seeking, and I thought that was the whole idea. We come to look for God. I meet the greatest saint I've met so far. And he's saying, do not try to see God. But then he said, but you act in such a way that God will see you by a performance of your devotional bhakti. Then. So that was the first impression of meeting Prabhupada. At that time, we were having a Pandal program in Deshapriya Park in Calcutta. It was during that period. And So then after the program, Prabhupada would generally be invited to someone, either a relative of his, because they knew him, or a local person. But now Prabhupada was the hero. He came back with his Western disciples. And so we all went to this house. It's one of those typical Bengali community houses, you know, with the open space in the courtyard in the middle. And everyone was there, all the noise and all the kids. And Prabhupada was kind of completely relaxed, and all the commotion, everyone was coming in and settling down. Prabhupada was just sitting down there relaxed. All the kids and everything playing around the lower. And Prabhupada was kind of just getting settled. And I was in the room, and I was packed up, and I was sitting up the back wall. I was sitting next to Jadabar's wife, Vishaka Devi. She was Jean at that time. And Jadabar got initiated at the same time. He was John, right? And but she didn't get initiated at that time. She got a bit later. But anyway, I was sitting next to her and talking to her, you know, about Krishna consciousness and how great it is, and Prabhupada and things like that. And you know, I was just brand new. I didn't know, in India especially, there wasn't such much emphasis on separation of the men and women. We didn't know at that time, did we, in those days? So anyway, I was rapping away with Vishaka and then Prabhupada. At the time he kind of got settled, and then he was, and then he started looking, and I could see he was kind of straining it a bit, and he was looking at me, and I thought, am I doing? And he had like a kind of a stern look on his face, and I thought, am I doing something wrong? And I thought, well, I guess I am. I've just got initiated. I got this saffron cloth on, and I'm talking to this Mataji, and there's all the family members around. That's their culture. They know the culture very well. And and I think Prabhupada was, and I said, I think I better finish talking. I kind of moved away from Vishaka Devi. But I think Prabhupada was showing a little bit of his disapproval that I was doing. But we were pretty innocent in those days. At my initiation, I remember 3 of the 4 regs, and then I thought, what was the last one? And I kind of completely slipped my mind. And I said, oh, intoxication, Prabhupada. Because that was the only thing I was into, actually. I've been in India kind of. So there was none of the, I was trying to follow everything, but we were following the sadhus and everything in India, and they were smoking and everything like that with their intoxication. I was surprised. I said all the 3, but the one I was not doing at that time. And I looked at Prabhupada and smiled. And, oh, no intoxication. He said, okay, good. But another thing Prabhupada didn't like was the mosquitoes. And there were millions and millions of mosquitoes, and we were the only light around. We were on the bank of the Ganga. There was no other lights. As soon as we lit the kerosene lamp or candles, and immediately all the bugs and mosquitoes would come. So we used to burn the cow dung to make smoke. And Prabhupada, he quite liked it. We were all crying and everything, stinging, but Prabhupada, it didn't affect him. And he quite liked it. He said, my Guru Maharaj used to have his chapatis cooked on this gobar, this cow dung patties. Gives them a very nice flavor. But he would complain sometimes. He said, I just put my hand under the mosquito net to get my books, and immediately they're coming biting my hand. So Prabhupada was completely unfazed in Mayapur. There was no running water, there was no electricity or anything. He had a jute stick toilet, you know, a hole in the ground with some jute sticks around it. But still he followed exactly the same schedule. He couldn't use his dictaphone machine because there's no electricity. So he had his typewriter under his mosquito net on his bed, and he would type out with his 2 fingers. The purpose was unfazed. He got up at the same time, he went out for morning walk, come back and greet the deity. Even there's no facility, it didn't faze him. He was just his old schedule. He kept maintained perfectly. Another time I was in the Bhajan Kutir Prabhupada, and probably an owl or a bowl, probably a bowler. These are different. What do you say? these were different groups of spiritualists or so-called spiritualists coming, Gauranga Bhaktas, but the upper sampradaya, what we call upper sampradaya. So there were quite a few of these different groups who were often bringing Radha and Krishna pastime down to a mundane level. And so anyway, on this one, what they call the ekatara, it's one string, one wire, and one gourd, and they make a little instrument. So he come in, and we could hear him, and he was thinking, Om Jai Jagadish Hare Om Hari Om Jai Jagadish, playing his ekatara. And Prabhupada said, you know that song? I said, yes, Srila Prabhupada. I learned it when I was in Kashmir. He said, Mayavad, go and stop him. And I thought, well, and I was a new devotee. I thought, well, as a sadhu, you don't, you don't tell sadhu to stop. Time I walked out, he had already started living. But Prabhupada said that the TOVP, no Mayavadis can come in. No Mayavadis, no Langis. Langi means just a piece of cloth wrapped around, this kind of casual wear. No Langis and no atheists. They cannot come in, he said. No Mayavadis, no Langis, and no atheists. So this was a Mayavadi, he told me, tell him to stop. 1971, and in Bhajan Kutir, and Prabhupada was sitting on the veranda with one of his godbrothers, and I just finishing worshipping the deities, Radha Madhava, over there. And I took the Chanamrita bowl over to Prabhupada, and I said, Chanamrita Srila Prabhupada? And he just tilted back his head, and he opened his mouth. And he let me pour the Chanamrita in. It's, like he was my God, he was my father, he was everything for me. And then he's acting like a little kid, like dependent. Prabhupada would always come out with these different, you get different pictures of Prabhupada, he's different. And then his godbrother did the same and put the Chanamrita in his mouth. But the very first time I gave him Chanamrita, I offered him, and then my hand began to shake uncontrollably. I'd never done that before. He'd never done it since then, but I was looking at my hand and looking at Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was just smiling, looking at it. And then I stopped, I was able to give him. But I took it as, Maya, this is the first, a direct service I'm giving to Krishna's the pure devotee, and Maya's, this is it. It is the beginning of the end. You've finished. Do a little bit of service for Prabhupada. In Bhajan Kutir again, in 1972. Instruction. Not do everything, because I was just one pujari then, so I had to do everything morning till night. There was not any devotees there, so but I loved it. But anyway, Prabhupada was considerate to say he should have some help. He cannot do everything. Then he said, so you should train up pujaris. I said, yes, Srila Prabhupada. And I didn't really know what it meant. And then later on he was talking again, and then again he turned to me and said, so train up pujaris. I said, yeah, I think I would have forgotten, definitely, because we didn't really have any system at that time. I mean, there was nothing written down, or all these different mantras we didn't have. So I think I would have forgotten. But anyway, we were leaving Bhajan Kutir, and I had one foot inside and one foot outside, and I heard, train up pujaris. You hear me? I said, yes, you do, Prabhu. So good. You get instruction 3 times, like confirmation, yeah. Then Bhavananda, who was the president, Prabhupada Prabhu was the president. And so on the arrival of Srila Prabhupada, Bhavananda said, Srila Prabhupada, the devotees they're taking this Kajur rasa. This is the rasa, the sap from the palm tree. They have date palm trees, and they cut the palm, and then the juice comes out. Then they boil it down, and it turns into molasses, gur. But you can also drink it when as juice. They make it hot and they drink it as juice. But if it's left too long, especially after sunrise, it starts to ferment and becomes alcoholic. And it's long, Srila Prabhupada, just like whiskey. And the devotees are drinking it. The Prabhupada said, oh, really? I didn't say anything more at the time. So then, the next morning we were with darshan with Prabhupada, and one devotee named Dwijahari Das. He was a Marine, kind of a tough guy. And he said, Srila Prabhupada, he said, sometimes me and the boys, we take a japa walk down the road and we go where they're making this kajur ras, and we take a few. It was really funny the way he said it. It was like, me and the boys, we go down the bar and we knock a few back. I was laughing the way he was explaining to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada was hearing and he's going, oh, really, really? And he asked Prabhupada, it's really, really good. So now Prabhupada had to make a decision. He heard the management side of it, how he was trying to stop. And then he heard the devotees, that some of the devotees were liking it. So Prabhupada had to make a decision. So the next morning we went in there for darshan with Prabhupada. And then Shruti Kirti Prabhu came in with a glass of kajuras. And he said, Srila Prabhupada, would you like some kajuras? Prabhupada, he looked at it. And Prabhupada knew what it was. He's a Bengali. Everyone knows in Bengal, kajura. It's quite nice. Nice. Bring me another glass, empty glass. Shruti Kirti poured him another glass. He poured because it was his glass. He poured it into the other glass. He gave it to Shruti. He said, pass it around to all the devotees so they can drink. So all the devotees were sitting around drinking kajur. Bhavananda was sitting there. He was fuming. couldn't get his way done. He was fuming. But all of the devotees. So we see how Prabhupada would adjust things according to time and circumstances. Now this was 1973, and we just completed the Lotus building in Mayapur. And I went to Prabhupada's room and asked him a question. I said, can Lord Chaitanya wear a peacock feather? And he said, why not? He is Krishna. I said, only some of the Gaudiya Math people, they're complaining. They're saying Lord Chaitanya shouldn't wear a peacock feather. And Srila Prabhupada became very disappointed, and he just looked down. He didn't say anything else. No, I took it to mean that, my godbrothers, they always criticize me. In fact, he wrote one letter. How can they help us? And they can only hinder us. It was an open letter. So that was my understanding that picking on little things, points like this. Why don't they see what he's done? He's picked us out of the gutter of material existence, and we're shaved heads, we have tilak, we have devotees, and we're chanting Krishna's name. Look at what he's done, rather than trying to find a little detailed fault here and there. That's the way I took Prabhupada's mood. So, anyway, since that time, I found many evidences that Lord Chaitanya, where it describes Lord Chaitanya with a peacock feather. In the Gauranga Mahimara for the way to Chara, he gives a description of Mahaprabhu and meditation and description. And he says he has the Shikipucha, the peacock feather in his hair, and another one over his ear also. And then there's another, in the Nitya Leela of Mahaprabhu, when after breakfast, he goes with his friends in Sankirtan, and they see all the white cows and the peacocks and everything, and he gets into he corresponds with Vrindavan Leela, when Krishna goes out with the cows in the morning. So he gets into his cowboy mood. So he starts calling out all of his cows, Shamalay, Dubalay, Ganga, Jamuna, come on. And all the devotees, what's happening? Oh, he's in a mood of Krishna in Vrindavan. So they all assume the same mood as him. They'll pick up sticks and start twirling them around like cowboys doing. Hey, 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 let's go off to Govardhan. Nityananda Prabhu pretends to have a buffalo horn. Govardhan, hey. And in that description also is the Lord Chaitanya wears a peacock feather. And also Prabhupada asked Malati Mataji one time that, why Lord Chaitanya is not wearing a peacock feather? She said, oh, he should be wearing? He said, yes. And she said, what about Nityananda Prabhu? He said, sometimes, Prabhupada said, sometimes he can wear, but Lord Chaitanya should always wear. Anyway, so we have Guru Sada Shastra. It became a little bit controversial. But Prabhupada did ask me one time, this was in 1973 or 4, he said, how are you all worshipping the deity? So I gave him a step-by-step explanation. And yeah, now we're undressing the deities and we bathe the deities with tilak, some lemon juice, and we polish them. Then we bathe them. We clean them. We bathe them with water. I said, what mantras are you using? I said, well, we chant Chintamani prayers, Prabhupada. Oh. I said, also we chant Brahma Gayatri. The first thing we would do, we just chant the Brahma Gayatri voice. Oh, Prabhupada said, oh, Brahma Gayatri, Vedic. Om is there, very good. Vedic mantra, Om is there, very good. So that was it. We were just chanting the Brahma Gayatri and Chintamani prayers and bathing. Anyway, then I said, then we dry the deity. Then Prabhupada said, yes, then at that time, you should offer tulsi leaves to Krishna's feet, which you don't find in other Archana Padhatis. The offering of the tulsi generally comes after the bathing, the dressing, the ornamentation, offering scents and things like that. Then you offer flowers and tulsi at that time. But Prabhupada said, at that time you offer tulsi leaves. When Krishna you just bathed and dried Krishna. And I took it to mean, like, no, Krishna just been bathed and dried and he's like he's naked. So the first offering, what is the first offering? Like Tulsi, Bhakti Devi. If we offer Tulsi, then Krishna's very satisfied. I took it like that, and it may be correct, that understanding. Because Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was installing some deities in one of his Gaudiya Math. And his disciples were doing all the preparations, and they bathed the deities and everything, got everything ready, dressed the deities and tulsis and flowers. And then they called in their Guru Maharaj to come and do the Pram Pratishta, which is the official calling of the Lord. Generally, the Acharya comes and he calls the Lord of his heart, who is the Istadeva, generally of the Sampradaya. He calls the deity from his heart into the deity. So this is called the Pram Pratishta, the official installation, calling of the Lord. So they say, Guru Maharaj, you can come in and do the Pram Pratishta. So he came in to perform the Pram Pratishta, and he looked and he saw the tulsi leaves on the Krishna's feet. And he said, oh, now I have nothing to do. Which indicated he thought that also that tulsi was like the prime offering of for Krishna, more important than even the Pram Pratishta. I guess it has something to do with bhakti. 1972, Govardhan Shilas, from Govardhan Hill to Mayapur. So Chitananda said, oh great, we always wanted to worship Govardhan Shilas. So we wrote to Prabhupada about, we have Govardhan Shilas, can we put them on the altar? And Prabhupada wrote back immediately, take them back to Vrindavan. And as far as my research work, that there was no Govardhan Shilas being worshipped in any temple during Srila Prabhupada's time. And there was another devotee in America, he wrote to Srila Prabhupada, said, I have Govardhan Shila, can I put them on the altar? And Prabhupada said, when I come there, I will see. And when he came, he said, no, don't put them on the altar. But now they're everywhere. But anyway, Prabhupada told us to take it back to Vrindavan. Another time, probably 1970, 53 again. And Srila Prabhupada told me, he said, you can offer prayers in your own language if you like. I used to chant the prayers in the morning when we used to chant the Guru Vastakam and what else we chant? Chintamani or something like that. Maybe Udalaya or no. And I would recite the translations because Chutananda was there. He had just translated all those books. So. And I would have to recite them. I don't know if it was anything to do with that or not, but I was kind of the reciter during those few years. But Prabhupada told me you can chant, you can say your prayers to the deities in English, which according to the Shastra, you can only speak to the deity in Devanagari, in Sanskrit language. So Prabhupada said you can speak in your own language. And there is in the Bhavasya Purana, Bhavasya means in the future, there's a Purana on the future, and it said that one saffron-clad man will come from India, and he will teach the Vedas in the language of the Malechas. So English is the language of the Malechas. And he will initiate with fire. So generally everyone offers, when they get the guide, and for giving first name, he gave the Hare Krishna mantra in the first name. He used the fire sacrifice, so that's something unique, which is spoken of in the Bhavasya Purana. So it indicates Prabhupada. I was just going to perform the Raj Bhog Arati, and I just shaved, I had my head shaved, and I'd just taken a bath and put tilaks on, and I had my clean cloth on. And then the devotee came, and Prabhupada wants to see him in his room, so I went upstairs to see Srila Prabhupada. And I came in, paid my obeisances. I said, did you want to see me, Srila Prabhupada? And he was looking at me, he was looking. Sparkling eyes, very happy. And he was looking me up and down, and he was very happy, and I thought, is this looking at someone else? No. But I think it was just my appearance, I think Prabhupada thought, a few years ago we were rotting in the gutter, Look, now they were wearing tilaks and clean shaven. He seemed to be very, very pleased. So you can please your guru maybe just by your dress. Prabhupada never directly instructed us to worship Govardhan, but he said you should send back to Govardhan Hill. Whereas Shaligram Srila, he specifically says in his books that where temples have sufficient facility, they should start Shaligram worship. So Mayapur was the first temple that he instructed to start worshipping the Shaligram Srila. So he said, see if you can get one from some Srila from some friend. So then Jayapataka Maharaj, he had one Shaligram. So we went to Prabhupada's room, Jayapataka Maharaj, Bhavananda, and myself. And I don't think Prabhupada knew we were coming even. But we went into his room, and Jayapataka Maharaj said, we have the Shaligram, Srila Prabhupada. So Prabhupada, he took the Shaligram and he touched to his head. And then Srila Prabhupada did a puja for the Shaligram Srila, right where he was, sitting on his desk, with whatever was around him. And he didn't even get up from his seat, but he did a little puja for Shaligram. And he got his tilak, he had his tilak there, and his Archman cup was there, and he made some tilak paste, and he had a box of matches, and he took a matchstick and he painted a little face on Shaligram, little eyes, little nose, little mouth, little M-shaped mouth, each seagull-shaped mouth, and this little gopi dots. And Jayapataka Maharaj had some silk cloth from Shantipur, a very fine silk that they generally offer to Shaligrams. And Prabhupada folded it like a dhoti, and then he turned his tilak container upside down. It's like an egg cup shaped thing. So he put the dhoti, and then he put the Shaligrams, a perfect fit. So, and then he folded the other piece of cloth and like a little chadar. So he had his throne and he had his dress and everything with tilak and little face. At Prabhupada, he just sat down and just whatever was there, he did this little puja. And he was talking. Then Prabhupada took his garland off, his own garland, and he put it around the shaligram. And he was talking, saying different things. He said in the month of Vaishak, that month has just passed just now, month of Vaishak in summertime, he says you should do what we call the shaligram, Tulsi shaligram jaldan in the Vaishnav calendar, and they drip water on shaligram.
Okay, Hare Krishna. So this lecture is of 45 minutes. So maybe Krishna Kirtan Prabhu will share the link later and devotees can hear all the pastimes. So I'll just share some of the glorification of Prabhuji as instructed to me. So I'm sharing a small PPT. So in this lecture, Prabhuji told so many pastimes, his personal experiences with Srila Prabhupada, and many of his uh, experiences are all the experiences are very divine. So when I was also hearing, it was very mesmerizing for me. So we'll see some of the little introduction and some glories of Prabhuji, and then we will devotees can hear the lecture fully in YouTube. So His Grace Jananivas Prabhu, I think all the devotees know here that he is beloved Pujari of Sri Sri Radha Madhav in Mayapur. So Prabhuji is a direct disciple of Srila Prabhupada, and uh, he is one of the most respected senior brahmacharis of ISKCON. I think whenever we visit Mayapur, so it is one of the most aspiring desire of all the devotees that they can get darshan of Prabhuji at least. And Prabhuji is known worldwide for his unbroken dedication to deity worship, in especially Mayapur. So we'll see in the next coming slides. But as soon as Prabhuji and his brother Pankaj Angri Prabhuji joined in Mayapur, so they never left Mayapur after that. They were serving deities of Sridham Mayapur since then. So Prabhuji is known for his unbroken dedication. Then almost more than 50 years Prabhuji have served personally deities of Mayapur, Sri Sri Radha Madhav. This is a very incredible uh, contribution of Prabhuji. So coming to the early life and how Prabhuji joined in ISKCON, is a brief about that. So Prabhuji was born in UK, and he came in contact with ISKCON in early 1970s. So he joined in London Temple initially, and he was quickly drawn to deity worship and temple life because of Prabhuji's inclination towards that. So soon after, he accepted first and second initiation from Srila Prabhupada, and due to his steadiness and humility, he was these all qualities were very much was there in Prabhuji since the beginning of his joining of Krishna consciousness movement. So he was very much sincere and steady in his services. So this is a very nice picture. This is Prabhuji and his brother Pankaj Angri Prabhu. So it is for me it is very difficult to tell, but like Maharaj was also asking in beginning that who is it Pankaj Angri Prabhu or Jananivas Prabhu? So yeah, this is the picture of both of them from their early days when they joined ISKCON. So let's come to some of the services which Prabhuji have done in Mayapur. So Prabhuji came to Mayapur in 1972 on the request of Srila Prabhupada, and uh, Prabhupada actually personally requested both the brothers, both the twin brothers, Jananivas Prabhu and Pankajangri Prabhuji, for staying in Mayapur and serving the deities. So since then, from 1972 till now, Prabhuji have never left Mayapur. So he became the head pujari eventually of Sri Sri Radha Madhav and all the Ashtasakis and all the deities in Mayapur. Yeah. So lifelong commitment to deity worship. So some of these attributes from daily schedule of Prabhuji. So Prabhuji wakes up very early in the morning for Mangal Aarti and he never misses a single offering to Shri Shri Radha Madhav. So we all know that to the deities, especially in ISKCON, there is a standard that almost a minimum 6 times the offering is done. And in festival, there can be more also. So Prabhuji never misses a single offering. And Prabhuji is known for performing every major festival with gravity and devotion, especially Gaur Purnima and Rath Yatra and Snan Yatra. So these are very prominent festivals of Shri Shri Radha Madhav and Panchatattva in Mayapur. So Prabhuji is known for keeping the festival grand and he does it with most gravity and devotion. Uh, so Prabhuji personally also offers worship to Lord with great attention and devotion. So this quality of meticulous attention is very much required in pujaris, and Prabhuji is like epitome of this quality, which he sets an example for all the devotees to follow. And whenever we visit Mayapur, so we can see that Prabhuji can be found near deity altar, serving silently and tirelessly throughout the day. We can see Prabhuji near altar. Then some more qualities like about Prabhuji's spiritual depth and bhajans. So Prabhuji involves very deeply in holy names and devotional remembrance. He rarely speaks publicly, so it was like very fortunate that these the devotees have recorded his experiences with Srila Prabhupada. But we can see that in Mayapur also Prabhuji on very special request only Prabhuji he gives public lectures. So, but his realizations are very much prominent for all the devotees. But when he does, his realizations are powerful and piercing. So, when we heard also lecture, his realizations about Srila Prabhupada was very much powerful. So he encourages purity, sincerity, and simplicity in service, which is very much required for uh, pujaris and all the devotees. He lives a life of practical bhakti and offering everything to the Lord without seeking recognition. So, very difficult to cultivate quality, but Prabhuji have that inbuilt in him that he never seeks for recognition. He is tirelessly and without any uh, uh, need of recognition or without any expectation, he is doing the service of deity worship since many years, more than 50 years now. This is one pastime of with Srila Prabhupada. I think this was not covered in the lecture, what I remember. So I'll just read it. Remembering Srila Prabhupada. At my initiation, I remembered three of the four rules and regulations. And then I thought, what was the last one? It completely slipped my mind. But after several moments, I said, oh, intoxication. Prabhupada laughs. It was kind of funny because intoxication was the only thing I was interested in. And I had been in India for a while, following the so called sadhus who were smoking ganja. I was surprised that I said only three of the four prohibitions, and I didn't say the one I wasn't following at that time. I looked at Prabhupada and smiled. Oh, no, intoxication. He said, okay, good. So this was one of the experience which Prabhuji shares about Srila Prabhupada. This is, I think, at the time of initiation. So, out of four regulative principles, Prabhuji told only three, and after some time, he told the fourth one. So, this is Prabhupada also relished this moment. So, this was a little bit introduction. I will say it is just a drop in the ocean of qualities which Prabhuji has. But yeah, devotees can go through the whole lecture. I think 15-20 minutes is remaining. Krishna Kirtan Prabhu can share in the group also. And if maybe Maharaj could have been there, so he could have shared more glories of Prabhuji, because Maharaj have many personal dealings with Prabhuji. So maybe Maharaj can share it later whenever Maharaj is there in the lecture. So thank you so much, Krishna Kirtan Prabhu, for giving me this chance. And, Hare Krishna to all the devotees. His Grace Jananivas Prabhu ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.